Hello parents, I hope you're well and welcome to the Senior Tutor Update video for week 9 of the autumn term. And here we are again at Assessment Week, and this will be the third assessment that our students will be taking in the autumn term. Of course, the large majority of this week's Senior Tutor Update video will be focused on that assessment. And I'll be passing over to our Director of Studies, Rebecca Muley, to talk about that assessment week in a little bit more detail after my brief introduction. The office team largely this week has been gearing up towards Christmas. We have been getting our Christmas cards all ready and getting everything sort of in place for the end of the academic term. That might feel like we're doing things a little bit early, but of course it's important to remember that although Christmas is the 25th of December, we will finish a number of weeks before that, and it's really important we get everything in place, ready, so that students can make the most of that Christmas break as well. As ever at this time of year, we notice that more and more students are calling in remotely, again partly because it is cold and flu season at the minute, and I would like to just impress upon students who are calling in online 4 really important guidelines in terms of making the most of that online experience. Of course, we've always said please do come to lessons face to face if you can, if you are well enough, if you are able to. Removing those barriers of communication is one of the biggest things that helps us as tutors convey and communicate our subject well. So if you can come to lessons face to face, please do. But of course, if you are calling in, just 4 things to keep in mind so you can get the most of that experience. The first is please already be logged in. Be logged into Skype, be logged into your online portal. Make sure you have everything printed out and you have notified the office team in advance so that any marked work can be uploaded onto the portal ahead of the start of that lesson. When we know in advance, we can seamlessly begin our lessons. Obviously, if it comes as a bit of a surprise, there's all sorts of obstacles that get put in the way in terms of providing feedback to marked work, even just knowing that students are calling in and having the setup in place. The second is if you are calling in online, be proactive. Ask lots of questions of your tutor. Use the little raise hand button on Skype. Make sure that you are making that extra effort to be forward with your learning. Of course, tutors are aware of the fact that you will be online, but remember, tutors are balancing students who are in the classroom with them, and of course they are much easier to see because they're physically in the room with us. So be proactive with your learning if you are calling in online. I mentioned earlier in the video about removing the barriers of communication, and whether you have a working camera, whether you have a working microphone, those 2 are additional barriers. So please make sure that your microphone is working, that you can communicate with your tutor effectively. If you are happy to do so, please do have your camera on. Again, being able to see facial expressions, being able to discuss things face to face, although it might not physically be in the same room, makes a huge difference to us as teachers. And finally, please be proactive with your corrections. You will of course be asked to mark your own classwork because you will be online. Be proactive with that. If you've got something wrong, think, why is that question wrong? Do I understand not just what the correct answer is, but how can I get to the correct answer? And if you're unsure, raise your hand, be proactive and ask your tutor to go through that with you. The final 2 bits from me before I hand over to Rebecca. The first is obviously very good luck in the assessments to come in week 9. Let's make sure we're putting our best foot forward. Rebecca and I will be reviewing these in weeks to come in terms of your scores and your progress over the term. So it's really important that you revise thoroughly for those. And secondly, just a note to parents that invoices for re-registration for the spring term will be coming out this week also.
As we head into week 9, it means we are starting our next assessment week. Like week 3, it is a 20-minute assessment worth 20 marks and is for all subjects except reasoning. With 2 assessments completed this term, I'm sure that students have a good understanding of what they should be expecting and the tutor's expectations in this assessment. In terms of preparation, it is very similar to the assessment in week 3, this time with content being tested coming from week 7, 8 and 9. This means we want you to review your notes and classworks for these weeks and utilise the feedback from your prior assessments and assignments to improve your mark further. Now this is right back to week 1. So yes, the content covered is different, but the exam skills we're talking about and approaching will be overarching through all of those assignments and assessments. So it is really good to read the feedback you've been given. Can you start to build those bits into your assessment and get those higher marks? Now, why do we do these assessments so regularly? I think it's really important that we focus on retaining this knowledge. To be able to lock information into our long-term memory, we need to provide hooks that we need, and we also need to provide repetition. Therefore, getting students to review their work so regularly is going to help them build that long-term memory so they can access it for the summer exams and beyond. How do we prepare for this, and how else can we support this long-term memory? By producing revision tools, so producing flashcards from the content we've covered, or producing mind maps that are linking the concepts together, are both really great ways of hooking that information so that they can access it later. I want to wish you all the best of luck over this assessment week, and I look forward to seeing your results.